In October 2015, a government official receives a phone call from an unknown number. The caller is demanding $5 trillion. The man on the receiving end of that demand is John Brennan, the sitting director of the CIA. The caller is Kraka, a 15-year-old calling from his bedroom in the United Kingdom. Across the Atlantic, Kraka's partner, Default, is coordinating the attacks from a bedroom in Virginia, routing his traffic through a free Wi-Fi signal from a Dairy Queen half a mile away. The United States intelligence community operates with a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure of sprawling campuses, satellite networks, and the most heavily guarded servers on the planet. The teenagers were working with consumer-grade laptops and home internet. The central question remains how a pair of unbacked teenagers managed to bypass the digital defenses of the world's most powerful intelligence agency. Default's path began with writing cheats for video games, an entry point that led to more sophisticated exploits, culminating in a breach of the servers at Canada's Windsor University. This chart shows the university's financial ledger, which Default accessed directly. He found records for $9.4 million in student debt. He located a button to delete the entire database and clicked it, attempting to wipe the debt for the entire student body. By 2013, the hackers shifted focus toward the US government, following the Edward Snowden leaks, which exposed the scale of the global surveillance dragnet. This shift was accelerated when Director of National Intelligence James Clapper testified under oath before Congress, claiming that the intelligence community did not collect data on millions of Americans, a statement directly contradicted by the leaked evidence. These events convinced the teenagers to use their technical skills against the architects of the surveillance state, resolving to give these officials a taste of what it felt like to be watched. Their primary method was social engineering, which relies on exploiting human psychology and administrative protocol, rather than writing complex code. Kraka began by locating John Brennan's personal mobile number through public records. Identifying it as a Verizon account, he called the company's internal tech support line. Kraka impersonated a fellow on-site technician and claimed he was having trouble assisting a customer. When the representative asked for an employee authorization code, Kraka made one up on the spot. The representative accepted the fabricated code and provided Kraka with the account PIN and Brennan's private AOL email address, granting the group total access to the account. The government's technical security measures were rendered irrelevant by a single person willing to lie confidently over a phone call. Once they had Brennan's private information, they began a campaign of harassment, calling him and his family so frequently that the CIA director was forced into hiding with a protective detail. Within the email account, they discovered Brennan's sensitive 47-page security clearance application. This document, which contained his psychological records and past drug use, was handed over to WikiLeaks for publication. The breach also revealed internal memos discussing the legal frameworks required to make certain interrogation methods, often described as torture, compliant with the law. They used the initial access to pivot into Department of Justice and FBI databases, eventually leaking the personal information of thousands of federal agents. Over a period of several weeks, a disorganized group of teenagers had successfully breached the private communications of the country's top spies and doxed thousands of their employees on a global stage. Default security measures were extensive. He connected to a distant public Wi-Fi node using a satellite dish and routed his traffic through encrypted nodes. He stored 1,000 Bitcoin on a heavily encrypted hard drive, requiring a 30-minute decryption process. Despite these technical defenses, Default eventually shared details of the CIA hack during a boastful conversation with a friend over Xbox Live while he was drinking. That friend reported him to the authorities. FBI agents raided his home and seized his equipment, just as his hard drive finished its 30-minute decryption cycle. They had demonstrated the ability to evade a multi-billion-dollar security state, but the operation ended because of a single night of boastful chatting. The legal response arrived quickly. Default was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $145,000 in restitution. The group had proven that the leaders of the intelligence community were as vulnerable to surveillance as the citizens they monitored. However, the underlying system remains in place. In late 2023, the administration renewed Section 702, a controversial program that allows for warrantless surveillance of electronic communications. A 2023 court ruling revealed that the FBI has already misused this database over 278,000 times to search the communications of domestic protesters and political donors. The hackers sacrificed their freedom to expose the reach of the surveillance state, but the system itself merely absorbed the blow and continued to expand its authority.